Welcome back to the Old Fashioned Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, James the Man Moran, here with my co-host, Gary the Oso Vitrone. We also have our producer, Brant Medicine Man Parker, in the house.
He's back.
He's back indeed. And today we have got a ESPN fantasy football auction. Gary,
This is one of the most exciting shows that we have had.
definitely.
We are drafting in our favorite format, auction.
Yep. So we actually did this draft yesterday and we recorded the screen. And so now we're going to do commentary over our draft, talk about what went right, what went wrong, what things we thought of at the time. And, looking back, what decisions we thought we did well and things we did not. This is on ESPN's mock. We did this as an expert 12-man PPR mock salary cap. Salary cap is auction.
Yep. And the great thing about that, too, was most of the guys in there with us, or people in there with us, are actual people. It's not just the auto-drafting bots.
Absolutely.
So this was an awesome experience, especially so early. It's July 10th when we did this?
Absolutely.
July 11th? Perfect.
Yeah. And we did this with only 4 bots out of 12.
Yeah.
So love that.
Awesome.
Love that a lot. Right now, as you can see on the video, it's starting to run, but we're actually a minute out before the draft started.
Yep.
Now let's talk through a couple of the things you and I immediately noticed. One, we are starting from first position. We are the Old Fashioned Fantasy Podcast, the lovely little yellow helmet there.
Beautiful, first to nominate.
Fantasy Podcast.
Exactly. So we throw up the first nomination. Love it. So tell them what our strategy was, Jay.
Well, our strategy when it comes to auctions is we know we want to go RB heavy.
Right.
We always think there's going to be value there at wide receiver. You always have those guys that come out of nowhere at wide receiver, or seem to come out of nowhere at wide receiver.
Yeah. It's way easier to find wide receiver talent, especially in the very end, which you guys will see as we go through this mock as well.
Absolutely. So we knew we wanted someone to spend their money. That's the goal of this right now, is to get other people to spend money with our picks.
Right.
So our first pick was Devante Adams.
Yes.
Top wide receiver.
Outstanding player.
Unless he went for an extreme value.
Yeah.
Extreme discount.
It'd have to be, significant, like 25% under.
Right. We're not going to get him.
Right.
And that's just the way we focus on a draft. We look at this draft. You want to get away with the most valuable players you can, but you have to make sacrifices. You were on a budget.
Right.
And so Devante Adams is a guy.
High price tag commodity that
Absolutely.
we knew we were not going to get.
Yep. And so that's why we threw him up first, so that someone else would have to spend that money. And that would leave more money for us to have compared to everyone else when some of our favorite players came up.
Exactly. And we just kicked it off. You can see Devante, like we said.
Absolutely.
You can see the bidding. It's super exciting.
Definitely.
Everybody's bidding. Fun stuff. We are just sitting back, like you said, Moran, and we are watching.
Absolutely. We're just enjoying watching them spend that money. And so this is also kind of an interesting one for us because we've brought this tip up before, and it didn't work with Devante Adams, but it works with the next pick, is that you and I like to grab the first top RB that's on the board.
Correct.
Yeah. Devante Adams, obviously not the top RB, but next came up CMC, and we were very aggressive in trying to get him. And that's because usually it takes people a moment. They're scared.
Everybody
scared of the market.
Is so anxious. Yeah, you don't want to be that dumb person who just way overpays and looks like a fool.
Right. But because of that first guy kind of goes usually at a discount compared to where the rest of the guys at the tier go. And most of the time, the last guy left in a big tier, when there's a big, clear, obvious tier drop for everyone, that's the guy who's going to go for the most, because there's the most people going, oh, crud, I don't have him.
I need to fill the position. They always go for a big premium. You'll see it later. And so we were definitely running back heavy was what we were thinking going into this. So we set aside $130 of our $200 that we knew we were going to spend, like approximately that amount, to get our top 2 running backs.
Absolutely.
So it was about an 80-50 is what we were targeting for running back 1 versus 2.
Right.
We got CMC for $73. That's a $7 savings for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we were thrilled. Like, we were yelling at each other when this was happening. We felt like rock stars. So CMC was a win.
Yes, absolutely. Very pumped about that. We let Dalvin Cook go. He went for 68. Well, he's still going for up, so I'm actually not sure what he ended at. But this was definitely a win for us that we thought. We were very pumped to get Christian McCaffrey for 73. Like he said, we had a budget coming in. We had a budget and a game plan, and we recommend you have one for sure when you're coming into an auction draft. You need to have a budget set, just like in personal finances. You want to know where you're expecting to spend your money and how your team's going to look based on that. So mock, but learn really what kind of budget you need to set for yourself to be happy with your team at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So Dalvin Cook went for $70. That's great. I'll take the number one RB, Christian McCaffrey, for $3 more than Dalvin Cook, who for us is RB3.
Yes,
usually.
RB3. Yep.
Kamara's doing ours. Right.
And there's a tier difference there, too. CMC is in his own tier, is how we have him ranked right now. Kamara just came up. Dalvin is in that tier as well, tier 2.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, just the fact that CMC came up first, we were just thrilled with. If Dalvin Cook had come up, we still would have been aggressive, like you said, and we would have tried to get him because that was the first running back, and everybody's a little bit cautious just so early on. You don't want to look stupid, so we definitely seized that opportunity.
For sure, and that's the importance of setting a budget. That's our rule of thumb.
Correct.
But we don't get burned by that because we have that upper limit of $80 to spend our RB1.
Right.
If one of those guys went drastically overpriced, guess what? We're not going to get that guy, and we'll pick our guy later, that the next guy up to say at that tier.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like, so here's an interesting, you can set your budget however you want. We just always go running back heavy. It's always interesting to think, like, what if CMC goes for like an outrageous price, like 95 or something crazy, right? Like, it's okay to let that first running back go. Like, you don't need to get him. It's just that the strategy has shown in past years.
Definitely.
You usually do see him go for, about ESPN fair value, something like that. People aren't as aggressive, so you do have a really, really high probability of getting that guy if you're aggressive.
Right. At a decreased cost compared to the other guys in that tier will come up afterwards. And while you did say you don't have to go RB heavy, if you're listening to this podcast, we will recommend you.
We definitely recommend it. But yeah, if you know something that nobody else knows, and you know two wide receivers who are going to be league winners, by all means go for it. We just don't recommend it.
No, that's not the way that we would recommend for you to have a successful championship season. But anywho, Derrick Henry here coming in, and because we did get Christian McCaffrey at a little bit of a downgrade, we were looking at higher value there. We didn't end up getting Derrick Henry, but it was one of those guys that we were interested in to see where he went because we knew we had a little bit of wiggle room. So we had already definitely started looking at which guys we could afford to get, which guys were in the tiers that we wanted to look at. Travis Kelsey came up next.
Yep. Yeah, we knew. So it's always you have to pay attention. You can never take a nomination off. You always have to pay attention because crazy stuff happens, especially as you progress and people spend dumb money on stuff. But we kind of knew we didn't have a shot at the Saquons or the Dalvin Cooks, those guys, right? Like that just wasn't in our budget, and that was fine. You still have to watch it to make sure that nothing stupid happens because something dumb will happen, and you can definitely capitalize on it. And I think Kelsey actually, he's still being bid on, but I think he actually goes for more than Devante.
He does. He does. It's pretty crazy.
That's wild.
Watching this, how high he went. Currently, he is at $63. Yep, he just went for 63, where Devante went for 58.
Yeah.
And again, that's the first wide receiver off the board, the first RB off the board. By the time Kelsey came off the board, people were really more in the flow. Okay, this is about what I need to spend.
Correct.
On a first round pick guy.
Right.
But we got the 101.
Exactly. We got our guy
at 73. Happy as can be.
Thrilled.
Saquon went for more than that at 74. Alvin Kamara went for $2 less. Give me CMC over those guys. And because we were aggressive early, we got him.
Yes, sir. Love it.
Yep. Here comes up DeAndre Hopkins.
D-Hop. Nuke.
We knew we weren't going to be able to afford that with the style that we go with, which is heavy RB, because of the depth at wide receiver, the fact that you've got guys who pop out of nowhere every year. It's much harder to find RBs off the waiver wire to get. This was an interesting one. This is one.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts came up really early, which is super interesting.
Definitely. Which we like and we enjoy usually when this happens, I think.
I like when something weird happens. Yeah, usually people just kind of go like down the list, just like by price, and that gets a little mundane. So it's interesting, and it makes you think a lot differently too when you see like Kyle Pitts. He's not the second tight end. He's certainly not more expensive than most of those top running backs that still haven't gone yet, right? So like
the RBs.
Like that was a strategic decision from that guy to nominate Pitts so early. And what did he go for?
He ended up going for 13, which is a lot more than what ESPN currently recommends him at, but I don't think it's that far off of where we'll see him go come draft season. But there is definitely that case where you'll see some of those guys who are interesting guys, quote unquote interesting guys, later in drafts. If they're thrown up early, they'll usually go for higher than what people actually spend by the time you get around to them when you're just scrolling through the queue, because currently everyone's got cash. Everyone's rich. Everyone's the big baller.
Right.
And we were too, grabbing CMC as fast as we could. But
as the second player off the board, right?
Yep. But that's definitely something to keep in mind, is usually those interesting players that come up early, more often than not, I've seen them go overpriced than underpriced. I don't hate that price for Pitts, but in general, those guys that there is a little bit of vagueness around their cost,
right? Exactly.
They go for more while everyone has more.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and kind of back to the budget too. So we knew $130 roughly was going to go towards our top two running backs. So with that said, we also needed the next two most important positions for us were wide receiver 1, which we had about $20-25. We were kind of targeting in that area, and then flex was about $15. So now it's our turn to nominate a player, and again, our strategy is there's one of two things we can do. In this case, we're trying to get our defense. We want to get our defense or kicker for $1. We're nominating Washington here. The other strategy you'll see us do pretty often is we will try to make our league mates or opponents spend more cash. So usually we'll nominate, a Patrick Mahomes or a top tier tight end that we are not trying to get, or a wide receiver that we have no interest in.
Absolutely. And this was a win for us, even though we didn't get the defense, because this is how we view when we go defense or kicker early, is that if someone else spends more than $1,
that's a win.
That's a win because they're wasting money.
Exactly.
It's always a waste to spend more than $1 at defense and kicker.
As our producer shakes his head, no, don't do that.
He loves to irk me with that particular process.
Yes, he does.
Process. But anyways, so when someone spends more than $1, that's $1 they don't have for later in the draft for a bench guy that I'll want or that Gary will want.
Oh, yes. And there's always going to be so much value. If you're in and this is, again, a 12-man draft. If you're in 12 or lower, there's always going to be value left at the end. You're going to want that extra $1 because it really does come down sometimes to an extra $1.
Oh, 100%.
In getting your guy. Like you'll see us in the next hour when we're drafting for those value picks, those high upside picks, when it's our last bench spot, that $1 means a lot.
Definitely. And we're drafting here 16 players. That includes a defense and kicker, both of which we'll get for $1. Our quarterback, depending on, and we're basically talking through our budget here.
Right.
Our quarterback usually can go up to $3, $5 if he's one of the top.
If it's somebody that we've got really highly valued that other people aren't as high on, like sure, we might spend an extra $1 or so, but
usually not.
Usually not.
It's $3 max. You'll see us usually go about the same for tight end, unless again we see a real discount here, which is why again we had a budget, but we also knew we had to be very flexible. We also knew you have to let the draft come to you,
exactly,
the auction come to you. So you have to be aware of where you value guys, 100%. And the tiers really help with that, because then you can see, even though that guy's not my favorite name, if he's in that tier, but he's going for a lot less, that's one of those guys to go for.
Yes.
On the other side of that, don't get on your team value for value stake. I don't care if a mediocre wide receiver is supposed to go for $7 and he's going for $2. If I don't think the player is going to be good, I don't get him, because like Gary mentioned, there's always value left on the waiver wire. Even in a 16 guy draft roster for 12. There's always value out there. So don't clog up your bench.
Right. You're just taking
in a
up bench
draft.
spots.
Exactly. With value guys, but they're not ever going to be someone you're happy playing. They're not going to be in your lineup in any situation.
Yes,
So,
it's never fun. Good call out. Good point.
yeah, definitely is the case because we know this. Like we know this is coming in the draft. We get our second RB, and because of that, we're one of the guys with the smallest bankroll.
Yes.
And there's a pause.
Yep.
There's a little bit of pause before our wide receiver one. There's a bigger pause later on, and we're totally fine with that because that's all those quote unquote value
picks.
Those guys that are there in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I don't care about them if I can get multiple first round guys, second round guys, third round even maybe.
Yes.
And then my bench is full of those
lottery tickets
right at the end. This is auction. We've done this many times. This is our personal favorite way.
Oh God, yes.
To draft is auction.
Yes.
And the stars and scrubs is absolutely
That's the way to go. Yep.
Absolutely the way to go. It has been for multiple years consistently. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, the hit rates are just so much higher on those first couple round guys. You know, sometimes the lottery tickets hit. I mean, there's like James Conner, James Robinson
last year. Yeah,
absolutely. In recent years, but that is so rare.
Right. And you have to be smart about what kind of lottery pick you're getting. You need to make sure it's a lottery ticket that's makes sense. So, for instance, when we go for a lottery pick of a $1 quarterback, that's where we've seen consistently those quarterbacks hit. Why do we not pay up for maybe the number one defense from last year? Because number one defenses from last year don't repeat. It
never repeats. Yeah.
So there are situations that, we know for lottery positions. Like, for instance, again, rookie wide receivers gained a ton of hype this year because of how great Justin Jefferson was last year.
Yep.
How well CD did. But we know that was absolutely an outlier of a year. Absolutely a crazy extreme year for rookie wide receivers. We don't expect that to be the case this year. So we're avoiding them because they are going at premium. Everyone knows the names of those top wide receivers this year,
right?
Because of what Justin Jefferson did last year. We're not going to touch it. You're much more likely to end up with a situation like getting Rager last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Who went above Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Than you are to pick the Justin Jefferson if a Justin Jefferson happens.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, we're here in the fight. We're here in the middle. We've got
a bidding war, baby.
Absolutely. And we've got our budget. But here's another thing. The guy we're bidding against still has his $200.
Yes.
He still has his $200. We are getting to the end of a tier here.
Exactly. That's the important thing to note there.
Definitely. Austin Eckler is, for us anyways, and I believe for him as well, probably, he was the end of a tier.
Right.
And so he had to win him. We pushed him higher than even what we were expecting to pay for Eckler, what we wanted to pay for Eckler, because he went for a 58.
Yes.
Which is right outside of of how much we want to spend.
Right, exactly.
But that was because we knew he was desperate.
Yeah, he was.
We were going to push him there to spend that extra cash.
And this is an important part. All right, so continuing that conversation. So now we like Nick Chubb. We are both higher on him compared to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was nominated first. And what do we always say? Get your guy. Get the guy. He came up. There's Aaron Jones. And we know, like we just saw with Eckler, who went at a premium because that is the end of a tier, he went for a big premium. We just got Aaron Jones for 47 as our RB2, and we were thrilled.
Thrilled. Do not fall in love with one guy so much that you don't take a guy who's going at a discount value if he's in the same tier.
Right.
But wait. Why didn't you try to get a top-tier tight end?
Absolutely. Good point. As we're seeing Kittle go up. And we've talked about this a little bit, but it's very true. In case you're wondering, that was our great producer, Medicine Man Brant.
Good question, too, by the way.
Definitely. We knew we weren't going to get hit a top tight end with the amount of budget we were going to put towards getting.
Right. We allocated so much money on two top running backs. Right. Yep. Exactly.
And we knew we've done this draft before. That's about what we were going to have to spend. And it was. We came in $10 under budget,
right?
Which we were pumped about.
Thrilled.
And here comes Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb going for way more than Aaron Jones.
End of a tier.
Absolutely.
Big drop off after Nick Chubb. So let's watch that price start just continue to go up and away, baby.
And so we had extra money that we ended up using for our wide receiver 2, which ended up being a much better guy than our initial budget was set to get.
Correct. Exactly.
So right now, Nick Chubb, he's going for $9 more than Aaron Jones, 47 versus 56.
Whew.
Absolutely happy to save that money because while we do have Nick Chubb ahead of Aaron Jones, we don't have him that much ahead of him.
I was going to say, yeah.
And if you want to, we didn't really call it out as well as we probably should have. The other RBs, the other top RBs that were around CMC, none of them went at a discount price that would have made us happy compared to grabbing CMC.
No way.
So we were very happy with that, and we were very happy getting Aaron Jones as our second for $47.
Oh, yeah. We were feeling really good right now. $10 under budget.
Yep.
That was awesome. To a little more detail on your tight end question. I'm personally not going to pay up for a tight end like Kittle. I'm not as high on.
Especially
it's pretty
Kittle.
much Kelsey was kind of the only big name tight end that I would want to spend the money on because I just tight end 1 for the last 6 years. He's clearly a difference maker.
I think 5 years, but yeah,
5 years. Yeah.
He's going to be 6 after this year. You're
Correct.
seeing the future, which is what you're supposed to do. You're projecting that 6th year.
You are right, sir.
And again, we pulled the same defense trick here. Buccaneers came up. Someone paid
Yep.
$2. Don't care.
Go
Happy
for
as
it.
can be.
Have fun.
Someone
Yeah.
else spend that money, and we'll come get a top-end defense, a top 3-4 defense, whatever, for the dollar that you should spend.
Or guess what? We'll find something on the waiver wire when stuff goes crazy next year and injuries happen.
For sure. Yeah, that was a great call out for Kittle. There are a couple other tight ends I would have been interested in beyond just Kelsey. I would pay up for. Well, it depends again. It depends on price and it depends on my budget.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because tell everybody what Kittle went for.
Kittle went for $27.
Yeah,
so he
I'm
went
not spending
absolutely
$27 on a tight end that I don't think is going to be top 2, top 3, or
absolutely.
There's so many mouths to feed in San Fran. The running game is outstanding.
Yeah,
I don't. We're personally not as
Brandon
high.
Ayuk coming in his second year.
Definitely.
We'll see what happens with the quarterback spot there if they make a change to Trey Lance.
Yeah, that will be interesting.
A bit more of a running quarterback style,
right?
Or if Jimmy G stays healthy long enough to be successful there this year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we weren't going to touch Kittle especially, but the other tight ends we knew weren't going to be in a budget that we felt comfortable going for them.
Yeah.
And I would say that's pretty common when it comes to ESPN. They have those tight ends that really everyone knows the name of at a pretty costly penny compared to everyone else at tight end.
Right, exactly. Yep. There you go. There's Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Joe Mixon just
one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Joe Mixon just went for $39. Cam Akers went for $52. Again, you're talking about those guys at the end of a tier. Cam Akers, they're one of the last real top guys. DeAndre Swift's still there, but I think everyone's pretty much higher on Cam Akers than that. And because of that, he went for more than Aaron Jones,
which is just insane.
Absolutely,
that made us feel so freaking great.
Yeah, $5 more than Aaron Jones.
Whew.
I'll take the guy that's going at the end of the first round in regular redraft.
Yeah, actual snakes
compared to the guy who's going second round in Cam Akers, mid-second round.
Man, and everybody loves Joe Mixon. So what'd he go for? $39.
Yeah.
The big comment that I've been seeing on like Twitter and just on ESPN and everything is like, all right, when he plays, he usually outproduces his ADP. Like, yeah, he's not playing that much. He's always hurt. He's playing banged up. Last year was atrocious. The O-line is terrible. It's a pass-heavy team. You drafted a rookie first round. You've got 3 good receivers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of mouths to feed there. And Cincinnati can't really be worse than last year, but it's not like, while the talent's there, right, it's still very bad.
You're playing a division with 3 of the top defenses, 3 of the top 6-7 defenses there.
Exactly.
And you still have one of the worst offensive lines in the league.
The defenses are so dirty. I hate that division.
Yeah.
It's fun for fantasy, but man, watching like Baltimore and Pittsburgh or any of those teams, it's tough, man.
And the Browns. That's 3 tough defensive
amazing lines
that are going up against your awful awful offensive line.
Yep.
And that's how you got Joe Burrow hurt last year. And I'm
Yes.
sorry, I don't think that the extra wide receiver was the solution to that problem.
No.
I understand Burrow wanted him, and so you went out and got it, Jamar Chase, but I go for it. But I'm not drafting Jamar Chase. I'm not drafting Joe Burrow. I'm not drafting Joe Mixon.
No.
If I can get T. Higgins at a discount, because I still think of him as the most likely one to have a great year this year.
Totally agree.
But beyond that, I'm not touching that team. That team is very injury risk for me.
Hey, AJ Brown, there he is. What's up?
Yeah, AJ Brown. So Keenan Allen was a guy we really liked. He went for $33. Allen Robinson, $32.
That's a pretty good price for Keenan 33, Robinson 32.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Calvin Ridley went for 40, which is a tier higher, I think.
Totally.
So, those prices were pretty reasonable for wide receiver. We thought those were pretty.
Also, just slightly out of our budget. That's a little too high for us.
Guys, why didn't y'all go for him? He was at a discount.
For AJ Brown, yeah.
Oh, AJ
absolutely.
Brown.
$36 there. He is a guy that we put at that closer to that Calvin Ridley price.
Yeah, he is.
But we didn't want to go for it because, again, it wasn't in our budget. We knew we were going RB heavy. We spent the money for McCaffrey and Jones. If we had went for AJ Brown there at that price, we're really hamstringing the rest of our team.
Yeah, because that's our thing too. Is we knew with our flex budget too, which was about 15 to 20, somewhere in that vicinity. We want a third running back. It's football. Injuries happen. Like, God forbid none of our guys go down. Knock on some wood for me, Jay. Even though this is a mock, but man, I mean, injuries suck. They happen. We definitely are conscious about getting some more running backs. We know there's some value rookie type guys that we want to draft, and we are targeting even right now this early. We're thinking about. But we still want an RB2 here, so we really, really need to be conscious of our budget.
Absolutely. That was exactly what we're sitting there thinking. So, we saw the value there, but like I said earlier, you can't take every value you got.
You absolutely cannot.
You're going to have a freaking a team that does very, very mediocre at the end.
Yeah. You might have a really consistent 90 points or something, which isn't really going to get you anything.
Absolutely. And you heard us talk about Wood earlier being at $200. He's now at $30. And you're seeing most of these guys now come down. Combs is really the only one who has over $100 now. But something we want to talk about is you want to spend every dime you have. Every dollar.
Oh, my goodness.
Every dollar at the auction should go. No, there's not an award given for the most money at the end of the day.
In fact, if you leave with the most money, you're doing yourself a huge disservice.
Absolutely.
You don't get to take it with you. It doesn't get transferred to Fab. It's gone. ESPN keeps their money. See ya.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. It doesn't help you. You don't get extra points week one.
Right.
So spend every dollar you have to go get your guys. I don't think we're big bank until I don't think we're a big bank at all.
I was going to say I don't think we ever were.
And we were very happy with how our team ended up.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
So, again, now we're coming here. We're looking again, and we're going to pull the same strat.
Third time's the charm.
Third time is the charm. Trying to decide between the Steelers, Ravens. We go ahead with the Steelers.
Why not?
I'm a big fan of Bosa brothers, or TJ Watt. I'm a big fan of TJ Watt. So, I'm a fan of the brothers that are just defensive ends. They're good.
Oh, yeah.
I think
there's something in those genes, too.
Yeah. So
Joey
and Nick,
Nick Bosa.
So happy. We got this Steelers. Oh no, this is the. Wait, did we must have lost 3 in a row?
That's 3 straight. Yes.
Yep, that was 3 straight defenses we lost.
I see it is forcing somebody to overpay by 100%, though.
Yep, definitely. Again, that dollar will matter later. Like we said, you should spend every dollar. Everyone else should spend every dollar, so that even dollar mistake matters.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this was a guy.
This was an interesting pick, too, because we're looking at flex and wide receiver 1 right now. And we considered Mike Davis.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of Mike Davis. Upside.
As our RB3, our flex.
Right, exactly.
Love that.
But that's the thing. I want him on my bench.
Yeah.
Not starting in my lineup. Again, maybe he's a flex. Sure. But I really didn't see it there. Mike Davis went for $15. And that was a bite your hand, James. Stay away from the cookie jar. Go home and eat your vegetables. which are wide receivers in this case. So we stayed away. We didn't get him. We bet, but we knew where our budget was.
Yeah, we were disciplined. I was really happy with that. It paid dividends, actually.
Definitely.
So
definitely later.
I was good.
Quite happy with the guys we ended up with. Michael Thomas for $32. He didn't go at that much of a discount. Michael Thomas going where Allen Robinson was going. I think that's correctly priced where we haven't seen him correctly go in drafts. And that's another thing. We've called out some of the quirks of auction that we think are wrong.
Yeah.
Usually when you are going in auctions, you are facing guys who know what they're doing.
Yeah,
because
I think so too.
Most of the time, if you're in your first league ever, you're not going to go with an auction style draft. So, be reasonable with that. If you joined a league and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to do auction," that means you know the players. That means you're not, you're not just thinking Patrick Mahomes and bust.
Yeah, no kidding.
So this is a good way of thinking of it because I do think he is better priced than his ADP right now, or better properly priced.
Right. For sure. Yeah, definitely.
So Amari went for $24. That was one where we were interested.
We were definitely interested. Yeah. It's kind of concerns about the back half of the season for the Cowboys O-line, and then Amari's just always kind of a little bit all over the map.
For sure.
24 is fine. I don't think we were thrilled or bummed that we missed him.
I
felt
don't
about
know.
right.
Yeah, it felt about right. It felt like he went for the proper price,
right.
And we're looking for a steal, hopefully.
Yep.
There were still a lot of wide receivers we were very excited
about. There's so many good guys between like 18 and 25, 26 bucks that we were kind of looking at.
Yeah.
We didn't need to go for somebody like Amari at that time.
We didn't need to push our budget by really grabbing him in particular.
No way.
And you'll see throughout this, there was a lot of times where I would switch to look at all the wide receivers view or all the tight ends view or all the RBs view. And that's because it's smart to remind yourself kind of what is.
Yeah, know who's available.
There. Absolutely.
Here's an interesting pick.
Yep. David Montgomery just came up. He is a guy we are very high on.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to current census.
Yeah, definitely.
Go figure. We like the RB4 from last year. What a shocker.
And Cohen coming back. He was hurt most of last year. I don't see him taking on a huge role even if he's healthy. Montgomery's that guy. He's going into his third season.
Absolutely, and there's a lot more draft value behind him. Cohen's in the last year of his deal. And we also have a better quarterback
I was going to say, when Fields takes over probably in week 2?
I don't even care. Andy Dalton is better.
Dalton's still an upgrade.
Yeah, I don't care about which guy starts there. Either way, it's a win to me. So now we've got David Montgomery, $26, and we got him.
And it feels so good. So we paid. So basically, at this point, we were thinking we saved $10 from our RBs. We knew we were going to spend about $130. We came in at $120. $10 savings. We felt great. We applied that $10 into our flex budget.
Right.
And boom, we were able to get David opportunity.
Absolutely. A guy who's going end of round 2, start of round 3, maybe in drafts as our flex. Loved it. Absolutely pumped to get him there as our flex. Like we talked about, we wanted that RB depth in particular, but that was a really proven guy there that we could get for our third. So Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, we are pumped.
We are so happy. We were stoked. That felt great. It was a big win.
Definitely.
Good job, team.
Absolutely. So now we're very much looking for.
We are staring at wide receivers. We are thinking about who we have. We're talking about how much we're going to spend. We know it's going to be 20 to 25 because we really want a solid wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And then we're also thinking value guys after that.
Right. And we just saw a guy who was the end of a tier. We were a little interested, but we weren't going to pay up because he was the last guy. Adam Thielen.
Yeah, we didn't need Thielen.
Going for 28 compared to Mike Evans 23, Amari Cooper 24.
And you know how I feel about Mike Evans.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not gigging him.
No.
Boo Aggies.
So you don't like him. We were definitely involved here for Chris Godwin. We were paying attention to that. That price was way too good. Couldn't believe we got him, but we did. Very pumped to get Chris Godwin.
Yep, on a top 5 offense again. We're both ultra high on Tom Brady. That's a quarterback we would probably pay up slightly for. because we do believe second year in the Bruce Arians system.
Would have paid $4 for him.
Sure.
Yeah.
And for us, that's
a lot.
That's pain.
That is definitely pain.
Yeah.
But
so that felt great. Bounce back year is kind of what we're thinking. It wasn't. He was. He had a couple different injuries last year, so I think he only played like 10 games or so. Sure, there's a lot of mouths to feed, and of course, as you know, I really like Antonio Brown, but for the price, I could not stay away from that. That was so attractive.
Absolutely, could not pass it up for $17. Chris Godwin should have a monster year.
Yep,
this was something that made us really happy. Chris Carson, David Montgomery, and Chris Carson. You see those guys go very close to each other in drafts.
Yeah, definitely.
But he was the end of that RB tier.
Yeah, that's a huge drop off after that. And you never want to wait till the last, to the end of a tier.
And so he went for $31, $5 more than David Montgomery. Just because, again, he was the end of that tier. There were people who needed RB. We're saying here, 3 RBs, let him go right on by. Got a great one there in Chris Godwin.
Yeah. I was going to say, something insane would have had to happen for us to even get at that. Yeah. I can't imagine a scenario where we're going for that.
For Chris Carson,
it'd have to be single digits, right? Like $6
I would do more than that. I would do a little more than that. Not much. Yeah, I would probably do 10 to 12 would be the top. And even then, I'm knowing then that my entire bench is going to be $1 guys. If we do that, you can see our max there. Our max is $26 currently right now. We were happy as can be with this draft so far.
We were so happy.
Yeah,
now it's our turn to nominate.
Absolutely. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna go for kicker. We haven't had success.
Man, the defense it wasn't in the cards. So what do? We go for Butker.
Yep.
And the reason we went for him was we assumed still a top 5 offense.
Right.
We need a kicker. You got to have one in your lineup to leave an ESPN draft.
And darn it all, we ain't getting him.
Yeah. Boo.
We don't care.
We'll
really
get over it. We slept well that night. What sort of blasphemy do we speak?
Yep. So he went to Wood. Happy as can be. Wood spent up at him.
Yep. Go for it, buddy.
Yep. Go ahead. Darren Waller, $25. Way more than we were going to spend at tight end for Darren Waller.
While he probably will, he has a great chance to be a top 2 or 3 tight end.
Definitely.
1, we don't have the budget. 2, $25. Yeah, it's a little much for us. We definitely weren't even thinking about pulling the trigger there. No
Absolutely not. Juju Smith-Schuster, again, don't grab value for value's sake. Yeah. Juju Smith-Schuster went for $11. Fine. I don't care. I don't want Juju Smith-Schuster on my team, so I'm not drafting him. I'm not getting him.
Yeah, that was really good discipline, I feel like, because we were definitely talking about it because the price was really good. We know he's going to have a couple good games. We do think, there's a lot of mouths to feed out in Pittsburgh. We know the talent is there, but we think he's going to be super volatile, as are all wide receivers in Pittsburgh.
But Gary,
we laid off.
Just bet on.
But who should come out now but Julio?
Yeah, absolutely. A guy we were super pumped on, and we got him for $20.
Boom,
so that's our wide receiver 1, Julio Jones.
That's our 2, yeah.
Well, we paid more for him.
You're right,
actually,
he did. Yeah, good point.
So that's why I put him as our 1.
Right.
Chris Godwin there and Julio Jones for $17 and $20.
Yeah.
Again, loved that.
And it's funny because on their teams, they're both wide receiver 2. Those are probably the best 2 wide receiver 2s in football.
Cooper Kupp would be the other guy,
or Robert Woods, depending on the year, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're absolutely right, probably there with Julio and Godwin being the safe best number 2s.
And that just cracks me up too. Thinking about Tennessee, what are you going to do to cover them?
Oh,
who do you cover?
Come
on, yeah.
I have no idea how they are going to try. Love getting a piece of that offense.
It's hot, man. Yeah, we're looking at, so especially you'll hear us say towards the end when we're going for those value picks, we're definitely looking at some of the top 5, top 10 offenses. I mean, while Carolina's obviously, we're not expecting a top 5 offense. We have the unanimous number 1
definitely
running back over there. The Packers, assuming Rodgers is back, which we are, should be another top 10 offense.
Definitely.
I mean, big pies, lots of scoring.
Right, and that's
Big
more reliable.
Fun.
That's more reliable than trying to find the guy who's in the only value in the terrible offense,
Oh, yeah.
A lot of congrats to the people like myself who had James Robinson last year as a lot.
Yeah,
of
no kidding.
But most of the time, those bottom tier offenses with RB don't work out.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell with the Jets. It was
my
a great
goodness,
example of that. You know, the talent doesn't always win out in those awful, awful teams.
No.
Robbie Anderson didn't look like
And
what
sometimes-
Robbie Anderson is when
Yeah.
he was with a terrible team.
I was going to say, it's Adam Gase ruined so many players for so
Adam
long.
Gase and Jeff Fisher, not only should they not
Suck
ever
the
be
value,
allowed
man.
to be NFL coaches again, they should have to apologize to everyone who watched NFL football.
And to the
with them as
players.
coaches.
Didn't he work with
Absolutely.
Parker, too? And all of a sudden, Devontae Parker balls out.
Jared Goff,
Jared
Tannehill,
Goff.
both were with Fisher.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Devontae Parker with Adam Gase too. They literally made the game worse.
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough. Like I feel bad. I'm going after people I don't know. They might be great guys in like person.
Sure, they might be.
They genuinely made the game that I love, the greatest game on this planet, worse.
I know. It's insane, man. And they got paid to do it.
They got paid a lot of money.
Can you
to do
believe that?
it. Yeah. Peyton Manning made Adam Gase, not the other way around.
Yeah, no kidding. You're welcome for the Super Bowl.
Yes, you are very welcome, Adam Gase, for a job in Super Bowl. So we've got guys going right here, but this is very much the rounds that we don't care about. This is what I'm talking about when we're talking about those 4th to 6th round,
Right.
7th round guys. We don't have a budget here, but we're happy with that.
Man, it's funny too. Deontay Johnson is up. We're really not considering any Pittsburgh
No.
Steeler. I mean, Juju went for 11. We didn't want him. We actually got into a little, call it a Twitter debate discussion with a couple people about Pittsburgh overall and Deontay Johnson. He is super talented, except as a wide receiver, you've got to catch the ball. In the last year he led the league. I think he had 16 drops.
Yep.
Like, guess who Big Ben is not going to trust?
The guy who
The
continuously
guy who drops the ball.
So this is our first bench player was Mecole Hardman.
I was thrilled about that.
Absolutely. This is something that the Wood did incorrectly. The Wood has very little money left.
Yeah.
Had $16, so he went with one of the guys he wanted on his bench that he hoped to get for $1.
Yes.
But I really like Mecole Hardman. He's going to be
yeah.
the wide receiver 2 on the freaking Chiefs.
Yeah, probably
So-
the best offense in football.
Happy. You get another wide receiver 2 on one of the top 3 offenses.
Right, exactly.
For $2. And because I was going to go get him, and the Wood couldn't do a thing about it because he put up a guy
Budget
he
constraints,
wanted
man, yeah.
for $1. Not the way to do it when other people still have budgets. You know, we didn't have much of one, but I wasn't going to let that pass.
Yeah, not for $2. No way.
Not for Mecole.
Man, and that's the thing is we love him because wide receiver 2 now, even though there's Kelsey and Tyreek account for, 53% of the target share there. You have no Le'Veon this year. You're not going to have Le'Veon. Sammy's gone.
Yep.
You
have
targets
all the
open.
opportunity. Absolutely. They did.
Targets are open, man.
Yep. The offensive line, they've done a great job trying to rebuild
Yes. Oh, yeah.
this offseason.
It was a bummer to see him grab an O-lineman from OU, but man, is he a stud. So, it helped a lot.
It did. Looking
We
at
say as Tech fans.
who's gone recently, we got Julio for 20. Robert Woods went right after that for 22.
Man, that
for
felt good.
21, and Deontay Johnson for 17. The only guy that really went after us that was like, oh, well, that would have been for a good value was Kenny Golladay at 14.
Yeah.
But again, you're not going to get all the value, and
Yeah,
we're not
of
going
course
to wait
not.
around hoping to get Kenny Golladay for 14 when it really ends up with you possibly getting burned and having to pay 17 for
Right, I was
Deontay
gonna
Johnson.
say, yeah, you could have to pay a lot more.
Absolutely. I promise. Get the guy that you see that you like at the time that he's available.
Yes, sir.
Don't wait around for the better chick, all right?
And hey, look what happened, Jay.
Hey,
We got our
team.
defense.
$1 for the Ravens defense. Loved it. Went and grabbed it. Done.
Our producer is clapping, by the way, back there. He is thrilled that we finally have a defense.
Yeah, so we can stop talking about it. But again, that was right in our budget, of course. $1 there for defense. I've got
Loved it.
$2 for Mecole Hardman, the first guy on our bench.
Love it.
We keep our money. Really, our money is on the guys who are going to start.
Yep.
But more importantly, in those positions that we care the most about, RB, wide receiver, tight end, it depended, again, on the value, but that was because we really cared about the RB. This is a good one to look at.
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert.
You saw us bid on that. You could
Yeah.
see us. We
Oh,
thought
yeah.
about it. Because, again, right now, all we're doing is we have 2 spots to fill. We've got a quarterback, we've got a tight end in our starting lineup, kicker fine. We've got bench spots that we're looking for. There is so much value. Mostert's very interesting. We're also thinking Trey Sermon here.
We're thinking Trey
that
Sermon for sure.
Yep.
We're thinking Devante.
Yep.
We're thinking
Carter.
about absolutely. We're thinking about the other guys that we value close to the same value there that right now we're expecting to get for cheaper.
$1 or $2.
Looking at who has money, there's not much of a budget left for most of these teams at this point.
Yeah.
We're sitting at $14, so we're still one of the worst.
Yeah.
But there's not that many who have cash, so there's definitely a chance we get to those late RBs and we're in luck. So like we talked about, there's plenty of value late that we love that are in the 8th to 12th round.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why we want to spend up at the stars and then take the trash. I don't want those 7th round guys on my team.
No, I don't want to look at my roster at the end of this and see a lot of value picks.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't see us, but we keep doing it, quote unquote value.
Exactly.
We're putting up the quotation marks when we say value.
We definitely
You can't hear from our sarcastic tones when we say it. It's very funny for us because as former finance guys, it's funny to think of value as a bad thing, but definitely is in this situation.
Oh, right. Exactly. It depends on context.
Right. The return on investment, the ROI is wrong.
Correct.
On those guys. Someone's getting the Bills for $1. Congrats to them.
Yeah, good job. I mean, that's exactly what we did. We just wanted our defense for $1.
This was another guy we liked a lot. Lockett. We thought he went definitely at a decrease. Again, because he went so late.
Very late, exactly. People have already spent up. A lot of other picks are gone. People are spending up at positions they shouldn't be.
Right.
And that's what leads to
$10
value.
for Josh Allen.
Yeah, $10. No way.
Absolutely. So again, we saw Tyler Lockett, and that would have been a value. And if he'd been picked up earlier, we would have gone for him. But we weren't going to miss out on the guys we got with Julio and Godwin, and then be praying that we're okay.
Exactly. You're just exactly. You're hoping and praying for something to fall to you, and usually you have to pay up for that.
Yeah, that's not the way to win at this. Patience is a virtue, but not when I see the value now.
Exactly.
And wide receiver, running back actually.
Running back. Yeah. Man.
Just in general, I'm keeping with my statement.
Yep.
Patience is not necessarily a virtue when it comes to guys that you know are a value compared to where they should be. And again, you want to know how you get that know what they're worth?
Let them know.
You mock.
Got to do it. We will have more mock episodes for sure coming out.
Definitely.
Especially closer to the season. And man, preseason's coming up soon.
Can't wait.
Woo.
Can't wait for Hard Knocks with the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see if Kellen Moore comes off as dumb as I think he is. Oh, God.
I can't wait.
Sorry, the Cowboys fan in me is coming out.
I've got the Witten jersey on.
You have the Witten jersey on. I hate our freaking play caller. Why do we have the same play caller that we have with Jason Garrett? Why do you – whatever. Sorry. I'm not going to go on that rant.
You seem really happy right now.
This is a guy I wanted to talk about.
Cooper, baby, yeah.
Cooper Kupp. I really like Cooper Kupp.
Yes, sir, man. Oh, yeah, last year was kind of a down year for him, honestly. Yeah. I mean, think about what you've got coming into 21, though, right? You've got a new quarterback. Matt Stafford's always underrated, too,
Absolutely.
by the way. He just hasn't – while he had Galladay and
Megatron?
Marvin Jones.
Oh, okay.
The last couple years.
Yeah.
They haven't always been healthy together.
They haven't been healthy. That's been a terrible
Hawkinson's
line
relatively new. I mean,
he's only time.
Is he going to be in his third year, Hawkinson?
Hawkinson will be in year number 3.
Year 3.
But really, guys, how hyped are y'all for Cooper Kupp?
Well, he went for $17, and I think we would have been happy had we had the budget, had we been in a situation where we didn't have guys that we were super pumped with.
Yeah.
I think we would have paid $22.
I would have paid into the low 20s.
Yeah, he could have been our wide receiver 1 had he come up earlier.
Yeah, I think last year, too. So that's just he's played 4 years. Last year was his worst touchdown scoring year. I think he had 4.
Right.
Double digits the year prior. Upgraded quarterback like we talked about. And
again,
the yards are going to be there. He's pretty solid.
Right. And you hear us kind of lamenting, I guess, some of these other wide receivers who were in the same range as
nice
the guys
SAT
we got.
word, by the way.
Thank you. Chase Edmonds just went. That was someone I was very...
Oh, Chase Edmonds, yeah.
But he went for $10,
yep.
which I was not, don't have the option.
I was going to say
to actually even spend right now.
Those budget constraints, just like real life.
But we're not going to wait for those guys, and we're stressing to y'all, don't wait for those guys.
Correct. Go get your guy.
I'd rather have Chris Godwin and Julio for $37 than the guys we've been talking about, quite frankly.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
And then Mecole on the bench. I loved grabbing him there as the wide receiver.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Upside.
Right, exactly. And we don't need to hold them all year and just sit there like, is something going to happen? Like, no, you'll know pretty quickly.
Oh, it's our turn to nominate again.
7.
And guess what we're doing? We're going with the kid. We didn't even try to be creative or like go outside of what our usual scheme is for y'all. We're showing you what our tricks are.
This is what's going to happen as soon as we get to our actual draft. Like, this is the same strategy that we're doing.
The same strategy.
And you'll notice too, we're not at all panicking. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a tight end. We don't care.
Absolutely.
At this point, we're talking to ourselves in the draft, and we're like, man, there are so many good tight ends. There's Robert Tonyan. There's Gronk. All these value-type guys that you can grab late. Quarterback, exact same scenario. There's still guys that we're good with getting for $1.
Absolutely.
We're not paying $10 for Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen.
But Dak.
No.
We were just
$8 for
laughing
Dak.
our butts off at that.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So, and again, $8 for Dak. He went to Team Combs, the guy with the biggest wallet. Congratulations, I don't care. You don't win being the big bank all auction long. You really don't.
Right.
Because the only way you stay big bank is by passing on talented
Correct.
guys.
Exactly. And you do not want to do that.
No. Congrats. You got Dak, but you don't have the RB depth. You don't have the wide receivers.
Exactly.
You're sitting here going, ooh, I get my pick of bench boys.
Right. Exactly.
That are going to be gone by week 3.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just not going to – because as we all know, it's always funny too when you see like the week-over-week projections and all that. It's like, oh, week 1, McCaffrey, 22, everybody's projected this. It's like, no, that never hits. They're never accurate. Guys are hitting 30, 35 points depending on your format,
Clay.
right?
We actually think you're an awesome analyst.
He's outstanding.
But
no, the projections are not airtight.
No, of course not.
So you're not winning by getting your 12 points per guy. That just doesn't. That's not how it works anymore.
And you saw we did go for Mark Andrews there when he was going way too low.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah.
Then he hopped up.
Yeah.
The autos woke up. I guess I don't know what to say beyond that.
Right.
Because most of everyone who is not an auto at this point is basically down to the same budget constraints as us, except for Team Combs, who
loser.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll show you. By the way, we'll show you everyone else's team at the end of this so you can see. I know right now you can really only see our team, but we will review and discuss how others did in this one. It was interesting times, and we'll talk about it.
You know what? This is actually something I don't think we've talked too much about, but on Snake, I am staring at my opponent's team pretty consistently.
Yep.
Especially when there's a turn.
Sure.
I'm not really flipping back and forth between 11 other teams here. I'm mostly focused on my team. I might peak a little bit, but I'm more just sticking to my budget, trying to think about what I can get. I'm playing kind of the what comes to me.
For sure. And I think that's the reason. The reason why is because you have to pay attention at all times.
Correct. Yeah, you can't take a minute off.
Exactly. Whereas a Snake, if there's 7 guys ahead of me,
right,
I don't really need to be paying attention because it's whatever comes to me.
Yeah, there's more unusual. Yeah, there's more unusual stuff. Like we saw early on, like who was it? Mike Davis came up pretty early. Kyle Pitts came up really early. Stuff like that comes up, and if you go to the bathroom for a minute, you're gonna miss something. Whereas Snake, people are sitting there taking all 2 minutes, and it's very different.
I can't stress this enough. If you listen to us, do not auction Jamar Chase for $12. No. Do not get him for that.
My favorite auction blunder that ever happened was Eli Manning.
Yes.
Back in, what was it, 2000 and...
Wait. This is an important guy. This is Trey Sermon.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about
Trey, yes.
So we were betting on Trey Sermon.
Yes, we knew he was coming back.
But he's not the only guy we liked. And
there's
bust the budget here at the end just for Trey Sermon.
Yep.
We could still afford him. We had a max of 6. But we weren't going to try for it. We weren't going to gun for it because you don't grab just the first guy.
Yeah, you need a few lottery tickets there. So yeah, we knew who was it? Javon and Michael Carter, a couple other guys I think that we had our eye on for running back. Melvin Gordon, by the way, I think is up there for $3. If you guys remember our last snake draft, I believe, Brant, you got Melvin Gordon in the 5th?
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, throwing up a player that you do not want is always a great strategy as long as somebody else wants him. Right. Eli Manning.
Yes.
We got stuck with Eli Manning in one of our co-managed leagues.
You're complaining about 2015. This is 2021.
Is it?
6 years later, he won't let me live down us getting Eli Manning for $2.
I just like to give you a hard time. Hey, that took a roster spot, man. You said how important that was, I just like to give you a hard time.
We got Eli for $1, not $2.
$1, you're right.
Yeah, it cost us $1 in 2015. And what's really important, you're right, the bench spot.
The bench was worse because you can't drop him.
No. not till as soon as the draft was done. 2 seconds after the draft was done, we'd pick someone off the waiver wire, but you're correct. He took up a bench spot.
That's so funny. Kenyon Drake over here coming up. What did he end up going for? What's he at now?
No, he's at $1 now, but
we're waiting
there. And again, that was a guy I wasn't nearly as interested in as Trey Sermon I was having on my team.
Yeah.
But I want to stress, Cortland Sutton went for 13. Laviska Shenault went for 11.
Shenault for 11.
Higgins for 13. Jamar Chase for 12. These are the guys that I don't want on my team. Like, I want to go get Julio for 20.
Right. You're paying
Chris Godwin for 17.
Exactly. You're paying $9 more, $8, depending on who we're looking at, right? A Jamar or somebody, $9. For so much more proven talent.
Definitely.
It's insane. It's like, what's an extra $10? If you've got it, go spend it. I'd rather Julio than 3 lottery tickets, Jamar type Chase players.
Absolutely.
No way.
And we call them lottery tickets players because that's how we view them.
Right.
These guys think of them as value players. Sure. They're in the value round.
Right, the value range.
Which I don't want to touch.
No, I don't. We want value for a buck or two.
Absolutely.
That is the value. When we talk about value, that's really what we're going for.
Now, Kareem Hunt is a guy who I want to talk about Kareem Hunt here.
Kareem is interesting.
Kareem went too late for our budget.
Yes.
We're okay with that. We love our team.
That's just how it fell.
That's how it fell. But this is something that you learn from doing these mocks is which of those guys come up way too late on the queue.
Oh, yes.
One of them being Kareem.
Yes.
Another one you'll see at the very end, Jacoby Myers, who right now certainly looks like he might be the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots.
Yeah, Mac.
We'll see. Nelson Aguilar is still up there for that. But N'Keal Harry is requested to trade. Which certainly sounds like he's not the one.
Yeah. No way.
But he's not drafted. He's not drafted in this draft because of the fact that his name is so low in this queue. So that is something that you learn from these drafts is where guys are in the queue and which guys are way below where you expect them to be or where you think they should be. One of those being Kareem Hunt. Went for $8,
I don't hate the price. He was running back 10 last year. We know he's going to have a 40 to 50% on the snap rate.
Right.
That was good enough for RB10. Last year, there's probably not a lot changing. I don't care that OBJ is back healthy. They do not want Baker throwing the ball 50 times a game or anything. Absolutely. It's a run-first team.
Now, don't get me wrong. Looking at our roster, I'm not giving up any of our guys for it.
No, I'm not either.
I'm not giving up anyone we have. You'd have to.
The points came in waves.
Wouldn't be the
too.
difference.
Yeah,
Mecole wouldn't be the difference. You'd have to give up one of our other starters, and you just wouldn't.
No way. And here's Brandon Cooks. That's another important thing to note because he is not going to move. He might move a tiny bit higher in like the
regular
queue.
Snake.
No,
in the queue.
In the queue for auction, like he might go up a buck or something. It's not going to move the needle. Again, we've talked about this on the podcast before. He's a consistent top 24 guy, like a top 20 guy.
But this is what we're talking about, though, in auction compared to Snake. He went for $9 here. He went for a lot more than what you would correlate where he goes
in the Snake
draft, which is where we always grab him. Him going for 11 and Brandon Cooks for 9. We talk about those guys at the end of almost every draft as some of our late guys that we love to grab for wide receiver depth. And you're just not going to get him in an auction where the IQ, the football IQ, is a little higher.
Yeah, no, totally. That's a really good point. Yeah, $9 is too much. And Ayuk is another guy that I really like as well. He's probably going to go for the same. I can't remember what he finished at.
Right.
But there's so many guys.
7.
Yeah, $7.
But 8, here we go. We'll see
there
how it
goes.
is.
Push it.
But again, don't want to sacrifice the top end talent for those guys.
No, I wouldn't want to either. It's interesting though to think in leagues where there's not as many people moving to auto, and when you really have if it's your college league or if everybody's a Cowboy fan, guys are going to go for more of a premium. So it's just important to remember who's in your league. That means there's less money floating around, less buying power. If everybody's out on an Ayuk or something, you could save $2, $3, $4 on him possibly. It's interesting to see just how spending changes kind of based on what kind of league you're in.
Right. And I think, but let me talk about some more obvious fantasy football IQ differences. Chase Claypool just went for $6.
Yes.
That's less than Ayuk. That's less than Cook. That's less than Anderson. Where is he going in drafts? Not after Cooks, Anderson,
no way.
and Ayuk.
No.
Chase Claypool, well, maybe after Ayuk, but Chase Claypool is going higher than the other guys. The football IQ here, a little higher. They know you really don't know who's going to be the top guy there for the Steelers.
Right, yes.
And also that offensive line's injury problems make me scared if Big Ben can last the season. Here is one of those guys, Rashad Penny. The Eli Manning pick of the draft. Not by us this year.
No, not by us.
Not by us, but not one we wanted. This is Team Barnes down to, the last guys he can put on his bench, and he hopes no one else grabs.
Yeah.
This is a part where I'm happy we didn't waste our money trying to go get Mostert. Because we're in the same spot a little earlier than we'd like to be.
Right. We don't want to play the waiting game quite just yet. If somebody comes up that we do really like at this point that we want to grab for a few bucks, then we will. And again, we don't have a quarterback or a tight end. We don't care. We're not worried at all.
Absolutely not worried about that.
We're planning to spend $1. We're waiting, though, because we don't want to be that guy who nominates when there's still money left.
Definitely.
And people are, a pain and they bid $2, like you saw with the defenses and anybody that we pick.
Definitely. We're waiting out the budgets when it comes to guys we actually want right now. But we're not making moves like Trey Sermon. We're not making moves like Mostert because there are other guys we have in that same tier that we think will go for a lower price, that we think will be more value at that tier.
Definitely.
And so, again, we knew I talked about this earlier. This is the part of the draft that's super slow for us, but you best believe we were paying attention this entire time.
Oh yeah,
we were. You have to be so much more attentive with an auction, but there's nothing else to do about it. You have to be attentive. You have to be very focused on what's going on to see the value when it appears.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's not like the whole draft takes us an hour and 15 minutes or so. It's really not that long. So yeah, while there are some streaks where we're just kind of waiting, we see there goes Rodgers, a quarterback we're not bidding on.
No.
We're staying the course. We're being patient. Crazy stuff happens. Sometimes guys go for way too low, like a Mecole Hardman, and you can capitalize on that.
And you've seen me check two different teams so far on the side, Combs and Barnes. Both of them were once you saw making moves late. Barnes had already spent most of his roster. Combs had been the big bank for most of the draft. But every time I looked and chuckled because they didn't have the RB upside that we do. They didn't have the RB guys there that locked down their team in the way that we did with McCaffrey and Aaron Jones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
So here came up Tom Brady. He went for
you can see our mouse moving on that too.
Yeah.
I think that was also me telling you, there he is, like a guy that we're both ultra high on. And unfortunately, everybody in the industry is starting to get really, really high on him. So he's probably going to go for even higher, especially in snake drafts.
So this is where we risked it. And this was because Aaron Rodgers, who is people are thinking higher on, only went for $3.
Right.
We went with Tannehill. A guy who's not as beloved, but someone we're super high on.
Yes, sir.
And there were other quarterbacks available that we liked.
Yeah, of course.
That we would have possibly looked at. But Tannehill, his pre-draft value was $1.
Right.
Which that was a little bit of mock strategy more than real strategy because the autos were not going to touch him. Right.
And there's a lot of quarterbacks that are valued at $1 or $2. Especially $1 is the important one, though, because like you said, a lot of people will be like, oh, fair value is $2, or the auto draft will hit it up to $2.
And you'll see that in family league auctions. You'll see people get most of their guys, and they might have to leave for some reason or another.
And by the way,
they'll let their auto get there.
Right, exactly. And by the way, what did we do there with our quarterback? We stacked.
Stacked
Again on Julio, baby.
Tannehill.
Right.
Absolutely grabbed $1 for Tannehill. Couldn't have been happier about that.
That was awesome. And we were not going to hit at $3
No.
if he had gotten bumped. If somebody bid $2, we're not going out of our way to force something.
Absolutely
we don't need the stack. It's just nice to have. And he's a top 10 quarterback, I think, on both our ranking lists.
Definitely.
So to get him for a buck in a 12-person league, I'm thrilled, man.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
a win.
And
here's your favorite quarterback, Jay. I say ultra sarcastically.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts might run his way into some fantasy value.
Sure,
but
he'll have some good weeks because of the mobility.
Yeah, but he's not going to have the passing.
I want to make a prediction.
Let me hear it.
I think there's going to be, like, his median weeks, he's going to throw for like 153 yards or something crazy. Like, it's just going to be terrible. Mm-hmm. But he's going to rush for 70 yards and a touchdown, and he's going to get bailed out. He's not going to crush it, but he's going to look okay because he has, 153 yards, 1 interception, 1 rushing touchdown, and 75 yards. And you get bailed out.
I agree with that. I have no problem with that. I do want to stress, I would take Tua over Jalen Hurts.
I would too.
In fantasy.
Definitely.
Because even though you're giving up a little bit of the mobility,
sure,
I think that offense is going to be that much more dynamic.
The offense is going to be great.
And I've never seen Tua taken in like a spot where Jalen Hurts hadn't already been taken.
True.
So there's always going to be guys available basically to me that I would take before Jalen Hurts, even with the rushing upside.
Jalen Hurts just seems like a more of a hype type of guy.
He is really hype.
He's getting a lot more hype like throughout the preseason.
I mean, everyone's high on Devonta Smith.
Sure.
Like, again, when you want to talk about rookie wide receivers getting the hype, it goes Jamar Chase, then Devonta Smith.
Right.
And we've talked about that before. I'd take Waddle.
Yeah.
if I'm gonna have to pick a wide receiver.
Yes.
But I'm not grabbing one, period. I'm not grabbing a rookie wide receiver.
No.
Because
would you take one if they went something for like $1 or $2?
It would have to be $1 and also like a 15-man league.
Not even in a 12, you wouldn't grab them.
No. Look at the talent we got at the end of this draft.
I would grab one of the top 3 as a $1 lottery ticket.
I mean, we didn't grab Waddle for $1, and I think he probably went for about that.
He might have. That's the thing. There's so many guys I don't mind having for $1 because they're not going – know for a fact they're not lasting a month on our team.
No.
Like, so much is going to happen in that first month. Roles are redefined. Like, injuries happen. Guys step up. Guys bust. It's crazy.
So I want to stress the fact that we knew our budget at this point. We had a max of 6 that we could do on any one guy.
Yep.
Mike Gesicki just went for $1, and we were fine with that.
Yes, we were.
We were going to spend only $1 at tight end. We knew we wanted the extra money on our bench. We only have 1 bench spot filled. Max of $6 means we have possibly 2 guys that are costing us, or 3 guys that are costing us $3 a piece. Like there's
a couple bucks.
Yeah, you've got a way to break it out. They're $11 for 5 spots. So we knew we were going to be careful with that.
Oh,
money.
Definitely. Yeah.
We weren't going to spend it at tight end.
No way. Got to pick and choose. And speaking of tight end, and I mentioned earlier, one of the guys that was still on my list for $1 was Gronk.
Right.
We do have a piece of that Tampa Bay offense already.
Yeah.
As a tight end flyer for $1, I don't mind grabbing Gronk. I don't mind getting 2 pieces of that offense because it is top 5.
2 pieces of that offense.
Sure.
I don't want to get 3.
No, I definitely don't want to get 3. I don't want to be rearranging my schedule to watch Tampa Bay games. While I'm sure they will be fun.
Oh, a lot of fun. We'll be watching them
right.
all
We absolutely will. But that's when there's not, the pie's not that big,
right?
To where everybody's going up, right?
Absolutely.
Like no way. But for a tight end, where if he lands in the end zone and gets 30 yards, that's a top 10 week.
Yeah,
3,
absolutely.
2 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown's a top 10.
Absolutely. I agree. I don't want to be so hedged on which guy is going to be available there in the box.
Exactly.
That I don't have some opportunities in other ones.
Right.
But up now is Devante
here we
Williams.
go.
This is our first bench grab since Meat Cole, and we get him for $3. I'm ruining the story because we're doing the
yes, sir.
But this is absolutely who I would rather spend my money on than Mike Gesicki. This is absolutely one of those guys I'd rather get than spending all my money on Trey Sermon.
This is back half of the year. Our expectation is Melvin Gordon sits down.
Yep.
He's just going to get beat out.
Definitely.
And we are going to have somebody going into playoffs who is going to be a starting running back with upside.
And we're talking, beat reporters are coming out and saying, all right, Devante might have the job week 1.
Which would be amazing.
Absolutely. Don't care. Don't
care.
But
he's sitting on the bench. But yeah, we love that. And that's why you do want to have, you want a few bucks. You want to be able to have, you don't want a $20 max bid.
Right.
But you do want to be able to go up a little bit on some of those higher valued.
But we were spending
tickets.
$3. We weren't spending $6.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You just want a few extra bucks so
Right.
you can go above the $1 kind of
you
have to.
Which is why we have the budget set.
Correct. Exactly.
We have the budget specifically for that.
Yeah, because we knew we were targeting around going into this, I think about $22 on our bench. We knew that was subject to change just based on how the draft was going.
Yep.
We actually stayed really within range of this too, and
Definitely.
we did a great job spending our money. We got everything we wanted.
And we're getting our tight end right here, Robert Tonyan.
Yep.
James Robinson went for $2 right before him, but we didn't want to spend the last of our of our budget really on him when we had just gotten Javonte Williams.
No way.
We're about to cut here basically in the draft recording back to the end. So our last bench spots, as you can see, we had $8, $4 max. I'm going to pause it right here so we can show you our team. We got...
Hit me with it.
So we have Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, Christian McCaffrey at RB1, Aaron Jones at RB2, Chris Godwin, wide receiver 1, Julio Jones, wide receiver 2. You can switch those if you want based on how much we spent. Robert Tonyan as our tight end for $1.
Love it.
Which is a high...
That's your second option in Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely pumped that we got him for $1.
Yeah.
The reason we did is because tight end went so late in this draft. Not necessarily the way it'll go in every draft.
Right.
But that we were fine getting a lower end tight end
Absolutely.
for $1 later, no matter what.
Yes.
We just got lucky with where Tonyan came in.
Yeah.
But if tight end hadn't gone so late, some of those wide receiver RBs would have been later. There would have been some value.
There's a trade-off.
We knew that there's always a late value.
Absolutely. Right. So you just play the field. It just in this case was tight end.
Yeah,
it could have been a running back, like you said. Good point.
Absolutely. Then we got David Montgomery at flex.
Love it.
Ravens defense. Coe as kicker. Hardman, Javonte, and then we got Antonio Brown for $2.
Woo. League winner.
Even with Godwin, we were happy to grab that.
Right, because he's, again, we're not starting AB.
No.
That's on our bench. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then we got Russell Gage here for $1. We still had Jacoby Myers there available if we want him. We also got Michael Carter.
Love that,
for $2. Man. That was the last of our real opportunity there was go get him.
Yes.
Money was the $2 for Michael Carter. And we got lucky because he was the last of those rookie running backs that we talked about that we really were excited about.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So we were happy to go get that. Let's see. We got that through. Oh, I'm sorry. I paused it still. That's why it's not moving.
That's all right.
So,
by the way, if we had gotten Gronk, I probably would have not tried to get AB as our, if Gronk was our tight end, that would be 3 pieces of that offense. If he was going for $1 or $2, I get that's tough to avoid. I don't usually want 3 pieces of an offense.
Okay. It does appear that we actually did cut right here on the video, so I don't have the video right now.
That's all right.
The other guys' teams.
Sure.
But let me see if I can pull this real quick. We can. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and pause right here. We might either be back on the end of this video with those other guys, or if not, we'll at least post a Twitter.
We'll tweet it out.
Yes. Yeah. Old FF podcast.
And I would say too, overall with our team, I'm feeling pretty good about it. What do you thinking?
Are y'all liking y'all's team so far?
Love the team. Loves the team. At the end of this draft, super pumped about this team. Couldn't have been more excited about it. We got really we didn't get lucky, but we got the spot we wanted for RB. That worked out the way we expected it to because that's the way it usually does.
Right.
But grabbing Christian McCaffrey where we wanted.
And look, CMC is a different tier. If Dalvin had been the first guy up, I'm
definitely.
I'm still thrilled.
Kamara, yes. Derrick Henry, yes.
One of those top guys that we are targeting in our top two tiers, really. That's what we want. We got our tier 2 guy, or our
tier
RB2 with Aaron Jones, which was awesome. That's still a top 10 running back.
Oh, for sure.
So our running back is definitely what we were focusing on. Yep. Mission accomplished.
Definitely.
I feel great about this draft.
I love this draft. This draft really, I don't think we could have walked away with a better roster here. You can argue if there was maybe a wide receiver later, but we were never going to wait and risk it.
I don't want to play that game.
Yeah, when we saw the guys we wanted and we did go get them.
Yeah.
Loved it with the Julio Godwin. Julio Jones, just, still $20 for that.
Oh, man, that was hot. I know. Absolutely. I love that. And by the way, too, I don't even really care who's on our bench. Like, it's a lot. There's a lot of value that so I definitely care who's on our bench. The last few picks, there's a lot of guys. Like you said, we are interested in a bunch of guys.
Right.
Most of them, candidly, aren't going to be on our team in a couple weeks. There's going to be so much that happens. We have so many guys that we're looking at. So much crazy stuff happens. James Robinson's emerge, and stuff takes off.
Yeah.
So we're gonna turn that bench so frequently. Just based on the trends that we're seeing, we need to be faster than everybody. So we're definitely drafting according to a very specific strategy, and because of that strategy and how effective it is, we're taking some high upside lottery type tickets on our bench.
Definitely.
And, if they work, great. If not, bye.
And we'll know quick for a lot of these guys.
Correct.
Devante is really the only one that stands out as a guy we were planning on holding and waiting a little later.
Totally.
But Michael Carter, we'll know week 1. Are the Jets good enough that a running back there will be valuable?
Exactly.
And is it Michael Carter who we expect it to be?
Right. Is Mecole going to take a step forward, or is he still going to get 2 targets a game and occasionally rip one off for 50 yards once a month, maybe?
Definitely.
Right.
Is Russell Gage going to be valuable enough too, or is all that value going to Pitts?
Exactly.
These are things we'll know early on in the season. And loved grabbing Antonio Brown for $2 there. If it turns out he's the number 2, and we got, and something went down with Godwin, we've got him there. We weren't really thinking of him as a handcuff.
No.
It was just too good a value late.
Such a great value. Yeah. So I love that.
All right.
Thrilled with our draft.
Yeah, thrilled with it. Couldn't have been happier with how that ended up. Again, be very aware of where the value is in your draft. Keep an open mind. We definitely try to.
Yes.
But it's an interesting combo because you have to be aware of the draft, but at the same time, like we said, set a budget. But the budget allowed us to set a budget. Yeah, the budget allowed us to get the lottery tickets we wanted on our bench. We weren't stuck grabbing the very last guys, just whoever was left.
Right.
We were happy with the guys we got. So
exactly.
All right. We will talk to you guys next time.